Hello and welcome back to Wrathful Shadows, EVE Online First Steps. Today I'll be going through sleepers, how to kill them, and what tank you should fit. Thinking back to my high-sec sight running video, I was talking about what tanks to fit to certain ships that are fighting certain faction rats. Now, sleepers don't deal a certain damage type, they deal omni damage, which is everything. So they'll hit your lowest resistance the hardest, so it's generally a good idea to balance them all out. Here I am in a sleeper site, which is a sleeper data sanctuary. Now I cannot remember the triggers for this for the life of me, so I'm just going to go with turrets and frigs first. Now you may be wondering why I am in a obviously PvP fit Raven. Well, usually I don't run C2 sites, which is a class 2 wormhole. Usually I don't run them. I have a Tengu for higher class site running, but for the purposes of the video I'm gonna start to run them. Now as you can see there, by the explosion animation you'd expect them to be dealing a explosive damage, but in reality they're dealing all damage types equally and are, even in my Raven, eating through its shields. I probably should start shooting back round about now. So I'm just going to launch some Hobgoblin 2s to deal with the little ones. Sleepers also change target. So drones, as you can see, are definitely not safe. You have to keep an eye on them and tell them to come back when they start getting a bit too hurt. Now, since this is a Torp Raven, I'll be dealing absolutely no damage to the smaller targets whatsoever. So this is going to take a while. This is really just for demonstration purposes. Really, a Drake would have been better for this. See, 62 damage, completely and utterly pathetic. So I'm going to run through the site, and apparently I'm not in a fleet. I don't know why that popped up. But anyway, as you can see, they're eating through my shields quite quickly now, and I'm still doing really crap damage to that frigate. So yep, sleepers deal omni, as I've said a few times before now, which means every damage type. So whatever your resistance is lowest, that's what will be hurt most. Now fitting up for this, as you can see I'm a buffer fit Raven. This is PvP fit. I forgot to turn my damage control on. Might explain a few things. So as you can see, if I can move that down a bit, I've got EM Ward Field 2 and 2 adaptive invuns and a shield extender. 2 adaptives to raise them all, and then the EM, because it's the lowest, to raise it to be my second highest. So at the moment they're dealing thermal to me because it's the lowest. Close that by accident. So yeah, sleeper is omni, so it's always important to kind of keep your resistances balanced. Damage controls in vulnerability fields are good for that, and then whatever is your lowest after those. And since I'm in a shield fit ship, it's always EM that's lowest. I'm going to stop here and stop trying to kill that frigate with my ridiculous damage. And I'm going to move on to the turrets, which I don't think is going to be any easier to kill since they have ridiculously small sig radius. May actually have to warp out later. It's going to be embarrassing if I do, because C2 sites are renowned for being ridiculously easy. Obviously not if you're in a battleship without a target painter. I did look for one before I started recording and I couldn't find one. May have to come back in my Drake, which would be a lot better for this. But new shiny ship, so I wanted to use it. Alright, let's try the drones again. Sleepers do actively target switch. So they're not like other NPCs. As you can see, they've switched instantly to my little hobgoblin there. And they've actually managed... Nope, nearly killed it. So yeah, they instantly switched to my little hobgoblin. Poor little thing. So, your logistics when in these sites are not safe. Your little frigate buddy to help you out with the frigates aren't safe. Nothing is safe if it's on the field. Unless cloaked, of course. Or it's a Zephyr, which is one of the special faction frigates that does absolutely nothing useful. But they won't target it, because apparently it looks like scrap to them. To be honest, it looks like scrap to most people. But yeah, I don't think they'll be able to eat my shields any closer down than this. My passive resist's probably gonna go over what they can DPS. So this is gonna be very tedious and boring, so I will go back and switch out to my Drake actually. When I find... there we go. I'm not aware... I do not know if newts work on these ships, but since they're firing lasers at me, let's test it on that small little frigate there. See what happens. Did he stop firing at me? We stop firing his... no. Okay, newts do not work. These are cruiser newts, so it should have newted out that frigate rather quickly. Yep, so anyway, since this is a tutorial video, it's good that I've kind of derped and failed here. Do not use a battleship in C2 sites. Horrible things will happen to you. As you can see, I went down to 27% shields, which is ridiculous for... should be active tanked, probably. They would... I did see an interesting fit the other day, actually. It was a Claymore, which is a Tech 2 battlecruiser. It's the Cyclone hull, if you want to look it up. And it had two extra large, not large, extra large, ancillary shield boosters. These are the shield boosters that don't require cap, just cap boosters, which are little, it's like ammo, you put it into them and it uses that instead of your cap. And for the life of me and my fleet, we could not break it. We just simply could not break this, its tank. Obviously it's only got until it runs out of cap boosters, but I got a feeling it had a fair few. Now, this Drake is fitted for collapsing at the moment, hence the probe launcher and cloak. Gonna put it back on. And 100 MN. Afterburner, which, yeah, it's a battleship size module, so it takes up pretty much everything. Unfit that. Turn these back on. Now I can do this in space, come close to a ship maintenance array. Right, I have ammo for once, it's always nice. So I should be able to cruise through these sites now in this Drake. Hopefully. But I am recovering from a rather nasty toothache, so if my voice sounds a little bit weird, it's because I'm in pain. Toothaches are not nice. But yeah, anyway, look, so we're nearly all ready to go. Right, so I'm omni-tanked again. Two shield extenders, target painter. And drones, obviously. Hobgoblin 2 is my drone of choice. So, anyway, to get these sites, just use the scanner, no probes needed. And of course you gotta wait for the timer. Right, back in we go. This is rather embarrassing that I had to warp out in a Raven with over 100k EHP, which is effective hit points, which is a kind of a generalised rating of how well your tank is and how much damage it can take before dying horribly. So, back in we go. We'll clear it this time. Now, these sites, just like any other, have triggers. Now, in C2s, usually I'll just go for turrets, then frigates, then cruisers. I don't believe there's any C2 site where the frigates trigger. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, back in. Site's pretty much intact. Wouldn't even guess my Raven had been here. So as again, I'm just going to lock up the turrets first. Moving is also a good idea, especially because I think some of these turrets are a bit far away. Yep. Bit far away. So as you can see, I'm not taking as much damage this time, even though I'm fit differently. Or nearly the same, actually. It's because bigger the ship, the bigger the sig radius it has. So the bigger the sig radius, the more damage, the bigger you look to everything. So the less damage you take for smaller sig radiuses. And the easier you can get under bigger guns, so they can't hit you. So as you can see now, I'm laying down the damage on them. Smaller missiles for smaller sig radiuses. And the target painter to make their sig radius a little bit bigger. So I'm going to start locking up the frigates now. If it would let me. And save the cruisers for last. See if it will let me launch drones without getting them insta-pwned. These are a bit badly damaged. Probably used them in a site before. As you can see, 84%, I'll be able to finish these off before they can kill me. And Drakes, oh, they're going for my drones again. As you can see, they've stopped red boxing me and gone yellow. That means they have me locked but are not firing at me. And they're moving over to try and kill my drones. And they may get one or two before they get back to me. Nope. Lucky again. Sleepers hate drones and E-War of all kinds. So that's jamming and jamming, target painting, scrambling. They don't warp off, so you wouldn't ever need to do that. And they are on the level 2 AI, which is higher than the normal rats that you would get, but lower than Concord. They're on the level 3 AI. So the target switch, they have priorities of what they hate most. E-War being up there, I believe. Near the top. They also prioritize new additions, and they also analyze whether they are doing enough damage to break your tank. If they don't do enough damage to break your tank, they'll usually switch to something else before working out that they can't kill that either, and then switch between you constantly. Sometimes they can split target. In other words, like a few will attack one person and a few will attack another, like you saw the frigates doing on my drones. And yeah, it's a nightmare for remote repping, because yeah, if they split target, who do you rep? So, but in higher class wormholes, it's necessary. Now I've finished off the turrets now, and I'm going to switch to precision heavy missiles. These are Tech 2. Take a while to train for, but are definitely worth it. I should be able to pop that frigate in 1 or 2 hits, and this is with heavy missiles, which is cruiser to cruiser missile. And off they go. Pop. They are changing missiles in the winter expansion. I really don't know what the effect is going to be. Whether it'll make missile boats completely and utterly useless or not really hurt them. All I know is I'm going to be buying a Legion soon. Legions are nice. Not in this wormhole, but everywhere else they are nice. Wormholes have different effects on them, which kind of means that some things get nerfed, some things get buffed, and in this wormhole, that means it's a pulsar. And welcome back. I had a bit of a derp fail in my recording, so I looked at where it stopped, so I'll try to continue from there as best I can. So in a wormhole, this means that it is a pulsar, which buffs shields and minuses armor. As you go up in wormholes, the effects, if any, some of them don't come with effects, but if they do, as you go up classes, wormholes, the effects get stronger. So it'll minus, in here it would minus armor more, and buff shields more. Now, I'm fighting the last wave in the site now, and which is the Sleepless Outguard, which takes a while to kill. Now, in wormholes, the main place where money comes from is by salvaging all the wrecks. But as you can see, there is no bounty there. So the money comes from lovely little white things there. Not just by looting them, you do need a salvage module. And you can fit one to a Drake in the free high slot. Might have to shift a bit of fitting around here and there, but it is possible. So, and you do need the skills. Most people will use an Noctis because it's faster and you can rig it out to make it even faster. And the range on tractors are quite nice, so you can just sit in one spot. So, I will, after this thing is dead, show you what to look for in the salvage, what's good, what's not. Really, you should probably have it all, because even the crap stuff mounts up after time. And I mean, hey, it's better than trashing it. A little bit's better than nothing. So as you can see, it's completely focused on me, that battleship. The AI hasn't marked my drones as the biggest threat, even though it did just take its newts off me for some weird reason. Thought something had jumped into the site for a minute. But yeah, anyway, descan, the best thing invented ever. Because no local in wormholes, as I've said many a time before. Which kind of means that you don't know who's in system at any one point. But if they're not cloaked, descan will show you where they are. Which means quite nice cloaky PvP opportunities. So as this out card enters its final moments, I am going to align myself to warp out, save time. So, yeah, in wormholes, there is absolutely nothing to help you. Unless you know it's there, like corporation. If you want to join a wormhole corporation, I do have a video up about it. I do enjoy having weird and wonderful fits, so if anybody does have any suggestions for weird and wonderful fits, please post them in the comments section, with either a comment containing what it is, with modules and ship, or a battle clinic link would also be awesome. So now I've finished the site, I've recorded my drones so I don't leave them. I'm going to go get the corpse salvaging bitch, which is a Noctis that we keep around for everybody to use. As you can see how many... I did eat through quite a few missiles. I had over 1,000 before I started. And yes, this Drake has been used in PvP. This is Mr. Lepsis Frozen Corpse. I don't know why I keep them around or pick them up. It's just nice to have a trophy. You'd be surprised how often you do see other people coming back around. Nearly grabbed one of the director's Noctises in. That wouldn't have ended well for me. Now I've done something rather stupid and forgotten to bookmark the site, so fingers crossed that it's still there, because it's the only one in the system currently. Keep fingers crossed. Yes, it's still there. Yeah. So to avoid dirt failing like that, do right click and create a bookmark on a wreck or something in the site when going out to get your salvager, because there is a chance that it will despawn on you and all the wrecks will be lost in space and all the money along with it. In higher class wormholes, these sites do get harder, obviously. In C2s, there isn't any scramblers to keep you in the site, but in higher class wormholes there are. I think it begins at C3 and up. This is a C2, so pretty safe. This does have a C3 static, which is rather nice. And with the added risk, obviously, since this is EVE Online, more money comes with more risk. And I'm expecting to get jumped by a stealth bomber. Always expecting to get jumped by a stealth bomber. So I'm just going to lock up all the wrecks. Now, since this is a Noctis, which you can pick up for about 50 to 100 mil, 50 for the hull, and then about another 50 for fittings and rigs and stuff. Tractor beams for the win. Everything apart from that one, because there's always one, is within range of this Noctis. This is blue loot, which is not very worth much on its own, but together with everything that you get from the site can be worth quite a bit. I just need to move my UI around here a bit. So salvage that. So the blue loot comes directly from looting them. Neural networks. And the really nice stuff, which is nanoribbons, come from actually salvaging them. This stuff, the electromechanical hull sheeting and fluid rotors and reinforced metal comes from salvage. The reinforced metals aren't used in anything. They are just used to be reprocessed in stations. And what comes from that is a little bit of trip. So if you've got a group together and you're running quite a few sites, it's a good idea to, if they don't want them, reprocess them, get the trit and sell that. Or if you're more industrial minded, you can use it for your own ends. Hopefully we'll get at least one nanoribbon so I can show you what they look like. So this is salvaging. This gets rather boring rather quickly. When you run out of things to say, it gets even worse for people who are watching you. But luckily I haven't run out of things to say yet. Getting close, but I haven't done it quite yet. He says before going silent. On this Noctis we have a cloak, because I've just noticed, sorry about that. We have 2 melted nanoribbons. These things go for 5.6 mil a piece. So for 2, that's 10 mil. So I did this site in roughly, 10 minutes? 15 maybe? In a Drake on my own. If you get a few guys together, go site running for a night, you can make quite a bit of cash. I think the most I've ever made is 300 mil all to myself. That has been split between about 4 people. We got close to 1 billion in the wormhole that day. Really, the things that you want to sell are the blue stuff and the nano ribbons. This is not worth a lot. A few K, 100k each. And having a Noctis do this makes it so much quicker. I have people logging in that I've just randomly added to my watch list. Usually for PvP, just add them, just so we can check whether they're online when they're sitting in a pos, being rather boring and not wanting to fight or do something stupid. So I usually just remove them when I see them on next. The fit for the Noctis, which I find is a rather good fit, is a cloak if you're running sites in an adjoining wormhole. So you can just sit in a safe spot cloaked until you're needed. Then 3 tractor beams. Just pull them in, make it quicker, don't have to go around them all. And then 4 salvagers, but I prefer on my Noctises to have 3 salvagers and a probe launcher instead of 4 salvagers. The reason why I like the probe launcher is the fact that if we get stuck, we don't lose a whole fleet. Because the Noctis, even though slow, can scan a way out. Like warp drive is always needed for the ones that like to be that one, that likes to be miles away. I prefer 2 inertia stabilizers and then a nanofiber, because the Noctis has issues turning. I believe it's the inertia stabilizers that, yeah, improve ship handling and maneuverability without minusing out to the hull. Because 9 times out of 10, when you attacked, that little itty bitty bit of hull is the thing that's going to save you for when your fleet arrives. And then in the rig slots, medium salvage tackles. Now, I've heard rumour on the forums and around EVE in general that they are going to be adding some sort of salvage drone, which would be nice, especially for us wormholers. As you can see, the Noctis doesn't have a drone bay, so I don't know if they'll add one or what. But if they do add the salvaging drone, it would be really, really nice to see them on the Noctis, because that'll make salvaging these sites even quicker. It's quite nice when you know that there's a fleet on the way to try and kill you. So as you can see, for like 10-15 minutes work, I have 16 mil. Now in C3 sites, this goes up dramatically, and that would be about 40 mil with a decent nano ribbon payout. As you see, I only got 2 from that site. Sometimes you can get none from a wreck, sometimes you can get 6 from a single wreck. It's completely and utterly random. So if you're trying to join a Wormhole Corp and you ask, what's your estimated daily income? We can't tell you, because it's completely and utterly random. Some days we could get 5 mil, some days we could get 100 mil a day. And sometimes we could get even more than that, like I got 300, and that was running C3 sites with 4 other people. And the way we work, we split evenly, so 300 mil each, quite nice. And I think I'm going to end the video here. I hope you enjoyed it, I hope you found it informative. As I said, weird and wonderful fits, comments below please. I really would enjoy fitting them up and seeing what they can do. Don't be worried, I won't tell you they're shite, but in the video that I make regarding them, I will probably, if needed, suggest fitting enhancements or pose questions to you about why you fitted such module. Also, if you liked, give me a general comment, give me a like, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much. I've been Wrathful Shadows.